In 1940, America was not talking about same-sex marriage. Not on the radio, not in churches, not in Congress. And yet, quietly, briefly, almost by accident, one U.S. state came closer than any other to opening that door decades early. Not New York, not California, not Massachusetts. New Mexico. A place shaped by frontier law, cultural pluralism, and legal loopholes so strange they nearly rewrote American history. Tonight, we uncover a forgotten legislative moment when language, law, and timing aligned just long enough to scare lawmakers into slamming the door shut. This isn't a story about modern activism. It's a story about how close history came to turning early and why it didn't. I'm Clyde Chester, and this is History of United States. Let's be clear about the era. In 1940, homosexuality was criminalized in most states. LGBTQ+ Americans lived almost entirely underground. Same-sex marriage wasn't a public concept. So how could any state almost decriminalize it? The answer lies in something profoundly American: legal silence. New Mexico, unlike most states, had inherited a patchwork legal system shaped by Spanish civil law, Mexican territorial codes, and Anglo-American common law. And unlike many states, New Mexico's marriage statutes were surprisingly vague, dangerously vague. New Mexico didn't become a state until 1912. Its legal system was still being stitched together in the 1930s. Marriage law, in particular, was oddly underdeveloped. While most states explicitly defined marriage as between a man and a woman, New Mexico's statutes often focused on age, consent, and licensing procedures, not gender. This wasn't progressive intent, it was oversight. And in law, oversight can be explosive. In 1940, New Mexico lawmakers introduced a bill aimed at modernizing marriage and licensing laws. On paper, it looked mundane: standardizing marriage licenses, cleaning up outdated territorial language, streamlining county procedures. But buried in the text was something radical. The proposed language removed gender-specific terms entirely. No husband and wife, no male or female, just persons legally eligible to marry. At first, no one noticed. Then, someone did. According to legislative records and later legal analysis, concerns spread fast. If passed as written, the bill could be interpreted to allow same-sex couples to legally marry, or at least challenge denial in court. Not because lawmakers intended it, but because the law wouldn't stop it. In 1940, that was unthinkable. Religious leaders raised alarms. Legal advisors warned of unintended consequences. Legislatures scrambled. This wasn't a moral debate yet. It was a panic over ambiguity. The bill stalled. Committee hearings were delayed. Language was revised. Gendered terms quietly reinserted. No dramatic floor speech, no public protest, just a quiet legislative correction. The door closed without ceremony. New Mexico never officially debated same-sex marriage in 1940, but it came close enough to scare the system. This wasn't an LGBTQ+ rights victory, but it was a warning shot. It showed lawmakers something unsettling: that rigid social norms weren't always reflected in law, that old legal systems could produce unexpected futures, that control required clarity. In the decades that followed, states across America would explicitly ban same-sex marriage, codify gendered definitions, and close loopholes they hadn't known existed. New Mexico's near miss may have accelerated that defensive wave. Imagine if the bill had passed unnoticed. Imagine if a county clerk issued a license. Imagine if a court upheld it. America's legal timeline could have shifted by decades. But history doesn't move on imagination. It moves on votes, wording, and fear. The story of New Mexico in 1940 isn't about what happened. It's about how fragile history is, how close change can come without anyone intending it, how progress sometimes appears not as a march, but as a misprint, how the law once opened terrifies those who rely on certainty. America didn't almost legalize same-sex marriage in 1940 because it was ready. It almost did because it wasn't paying attention. And that, more than anything, reveals how unpredictable our past truly is. I'm Clyde Chester, and this has been History of United States.